So editing will either make or break your photos, but we won't be breaking any today or after because we're going back to the basics with a full-blown Lightroom tutorial. Let's go ahead and get started. To start everything off, we are currently in the library panel of Adobe Lightroom, and this is actually where you're going to be browsing through all of your photos. And as you can see here on the left-hand side, I've got several folders that I've already built in here. Today specifically, we're gonna be using my YouTube folder, and we're gonna be working with this image today. So the very first thing that I do with any photo is I examine my white balance. Now, normally I shoot with auto white balance on my camera, which does a really good job, but auto white balance is not always perfect. Essentially, what you wanna do is you wanna adjust this temperature slider either to the left to make your image colder like this, or you want to adjust it to the right to make it warmer. Now, if you do also double click on an adjustment that you make on one of these sliders, it will automatically place it back to where it originally was. Now, good rule of thumb with white balance is to make the color white look like whites. So an easy way to do that is generally to grab this eyedropper, make sure to click on something that's supposed to be white, and Lightroom will do its magic and make auto adjustments for you. Now the next thing I want to do is adjust the exposure, because overall, yes, the sky is overexposed, but the majority of me as the subject in this photo and some of the landscape in the background is a little bit underexposed. So let's adjust the exposure to brighten things up just a bit. There we go, that looks pretty good. Contrast, we're gonna leave it alone. Highlights, I am actually gonna go ahead and bring those down to start revealing some of the details within the sky. So I think, yeah, that looks pretty good. Well, actually, about -84 because I don't want to overdo it. I'm going to go ahead and bump up my shadows just a bit to reveal a little bit more detail. And whites, I'm going to leave those as is. Actually, I'm going to lower it slightly. There we go. Blacks, I'm going to go ahead and leave that as is. Now, vibrance, that is typically my next step because I like adding some color to my images. Now, I can do that as well by using saturation, but look at what happens if I move vibrance all the way to the right-hand side. Definitely doesn't look the greatest, right? Like, it's definitely overdone, but let's compare that to saturation. That is way more overdone. Now the reason for that is because vibrance is like a smart saturation. It's only going to boost specific colors of the image that are not as vibrant as others. Compared to saturation, you're boosting every color within your photo. So normally I like to stick around 10 to 20 for my vibrance. I think 20 is going to be good. In saturation, I'm going to go ahead and leave that at 0. All right, now the next part that we're going to get into is tone curves. This is one of my favorites. It is one of the most powerful tools that any editor can ever use. It will transform any image into something powerful. Now, you're basically looking at histogram, so you've got your blacks right here. This is going to be your shadows, your midtones, your highlights, and then your whites. Now, I want to add contrast to my photo because it's looking a bit dull right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and adjust my shadows, and I'm going to move this control point down, and it's going to add that contrast that I want. So now that I've added more contrast to my shadows, I can even come up to my midtones, raise it up, and notice it's going to create even more contrast. However, I am not a person that likes too much contrast, so I'm going to leave that as is right there. And just to show you how powerful this one little tool is, if I come up here to tone curve and click on this eyeball, it shows me the before, and it also shows me the after. Now there are other curves as well, which are the RGB curves. So there's a red channel, there's a green channel, and a blue channel. I typically don't use these very often. Sometimes I do, but essentially I'll do the same thing as I'll create a few control points for my shadows, my midtones, and my highlights. But these you do have to be very, very careful with and very minimal because any slight change can make or break your photo. So basically, if I wanted to add some color tint to my shadows under the red channel, I could either add some blue tint or some red tint. So if I were to drag this down just a bit, look at what happens to my shadows. It starts getting affected just by that blue. But if I bring it up, it adds a little bit of red. And actually, I kind of like that little bit of red. So if I were to just bump it up just a little bit, I think I'm happy with that. Greens, I'm going to leave the greens as is. I don't like messing with the greens and magenta. It's not my favorite color combination. But blues, I am going to make a minor adjustment here as well. I do want, actually, my midtones to be a little bit on the warmer side. So a slight adjustment here. And I'm also going to adjust these highlights a little bit because the sky has kind of this glow, yellow glow to it. Let's add a little bit more yellow, more warmth. So now with just this one single panel, this is the before and this is the after. Now that's a pretty big difference. So this next panel is the color mixer, also known as the HSL panel, which also stands for hue, saturation, and luminance. So this panel basically lets us manipulate colors to take the image to a next level. So we're gonna start off actually with hue. And let's say I want to change the orange. If I move that over to the left-hand side, look at what happens to my image. Now, obviously that doesn't look good, and that's why you wanna be very careful with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this over to probably about -9. I think that looks great. Now for the yellows, if we move it over to the right, let's see what it does. It starts adding more green, not a big fan. I want it to be kind of more earthy tone, so I'm gonna move it over to the left, and there we go. I like that at -23. So I'm happy with everything on hue. Now for the luminance side of things, I'm going to just brighten up the orange just a little bit. There we go, I like that. So here is the before and after with just HSL. Now, before we move on to the next panel, let's talk a little bit about masking. Generally, that's my next step. So you click on this circle icon up here, and Lightroom gives you a bunch of different options to choose from. But basically, these masks lets us get a little bit more creative with our images. So the first thing I'm gonna do is subject. I do this for just about every portrait that I take. Notice that Lightroom has now detected myself as a subject. So now I can actually begin making adjustments to just me instead of the entire image. So what I wanna do is I definitely wanna go ahead and brighten myself up just a bit, just to kind of stand out a little bit more. I'm also gonna go ahead and raise those shadows up slightly. Now let's come back up here to this layer panel. We're gonna create another mask. This time though, let's select that sky because it is still a bit too overexposed. Now that we got the sky, let's reduce the highlights down. And we're gonna also bring down the exposure a bit, not too much. All right, I think that looks great. Now, one thing that I did notice about my image is that I have this nice light kind of happening on my hoodie, on my shoulder, and on my arm. I kind of wanna bring that out a bit and kind of make it a little bit more dramatic. So I'm gonna create another mask. This time though, I'm gonna do a linear gradient. I'm gonna have it coming from like an angle like this, barely touching that area. And I'm gonna bring up the exposure just a bit. And I'm gonna also bring up the temperature to make it warmer, as if like the light is coming from that direction, which, that right there just looks good. So this is with the mask and this is before. It just adds that nice little bit of oomph that the photo needs. But you know what? I went through the trouble of just making a mask for that sky to not have it as overexposed, but now I'm adding more exposure to it with that linear gradient. Well, here's what I can do. If I click on that linear gradient that I just created, I can also do a subtract, and I can choose brush or different options, but I'm gonna do linear gradient, and I'm just gonna subtract the top part of that. And so all of this essentially is not going to be brightened anymore from this original linear gradient. So nice little life hack. Now that our masking is complete, let's jump right into the color grading panel. Now this panel is amazing because it actually lets us manipulate colors and tints of our image, but for specific parts of our photo, such as shadows, midtones, highlights, and there's also a global adjustment. So right off the bat, you see all the different color wheels right here. Now I personally like to work on them one by one, so I'm gonna click on shadows. Now for shadows, I typically like these to be a cooler color because, well, shadows are supposed to be cool, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this hue slider. I'm gonna move it over kind of like to the blue, and now I'm gonna move over the saturation slider and look at what it does to the shadows. Now you can see just from that, you can start to make your photos look more cinematic. However, obviously this is overdone, so we're gonna be very, very minimal with our adjustments. So I say, that actually looks pretty good at 8. So now let's jump over to our midtones. Midtones, I always like to do opposite of what I picked for my shadows because, you know, opposites are going to complement each other. So the opposite of blue is gonna be like a warmer color like orange or yellow. So now that I've got my color, I'm gonna go ahead and add some saturation. And I think that looks great right there at 20. And I think for the hue, let's go with 40. 40 looks good. And for the highlights, I'm gonna focus mainly on the sky because it has that glow to it. So I'm gonna go with definitely like a yellow and just add a little bit, something like maybe 6 or 8. So far, I've adjusted the shadows, midtones, and highlights. Here's what it looked like before, and here's after. So it's definitely starting to look more cinematic. Now, before we get into the last color wheel, which is the global panel, you might be wondering, Marco, what the heck is that luminance slider for and the blending and balance? Well, the luminance, it lets you either brighten up the shadows, highlights, or midtones, whatever color wheel that you're in. So if I move that to the right, it's gonna make that part of the photo brighter, or it's gonna make it more dull. Typically, I don't really mess with that. And for blending, it auto defaults to 50. I also typically leave it at 50. And with the balance, I also leave that at 0. But if you do want to know what they are, I'll tell you. Blending basically lets you get the precise look that you want. So it's either going to separate those different tints and colors that you added, or it's going to kind of merge them seamlessly together. And the balance is going to affect the colors of either your shadows or your highlights of the image. So if you're wanting your shadows to be more pronounced with color, then move that over to the left. And notice how it kind of starts to dull things out, starts to kind of get cooler because we chose blue as our shadows. Or if we move over to the right-hand side, it's gonna definitely make things a lot warmer. Again, typically I leave the blending and balance at its default. I don't mess with those. Now for the last color wheel, we have our global panel right here. The global panel is just basically going to add color to the entire image itself. So for example, this green, I'm gonna add saturation. It's gonna make everything green. That's what the global panel's for. Now for me, if I wanted to make it a little bit warmer, I could technically go here and add a ton of color to it. But I like kind of where I'm at right now, so I'm not gonna change that global. Now the next panel is the detail panel. What this is used for is essentially sharpening specific parts of your photo. So for example, we always wanna start off with masking, but before you grab that slider and start moving it, you wanna make sure that you hold the Alt on your keyboard and then click and drag, and this is what it does to your photo. So basically, you're choosing what you want sharpened in your image this way, and the only way to see what you're gonna sharpen is by holding that Alt key. So if I don't hold it, I can't see anything. But if I do, here it is. So now that I've got that masking on there, let's zoom in just a little bit so you can see the difference. So I can start making the amount higher, and it starts digitally sharpening the photo. Now I'm not a big fan of this, so I typically don't mess with it unless I have a photo that maybe I might have slightly missed the focus, then I might go in here and make that adjustment. Now the last panel that I use is the calibration panel. Now before I tell you how to use this, I have to kind of explain to you how it works. So think of the different camera brands that there are. So Canon, Nikon, and Sony. Those are just a few, right? Well, each camera brand has their own color science. So for example, Canon says, hey, you know what? This is what red is supposed to look like. But you know, Nikon and Sony might say, no, Canon, you're wrong. This is actually what red is supposed to look like. And this calibration panel actually lets you develop your own color science. You are now in charge of what you think reds, greens, and blues should look like. So for example, if I were to do this red primary and move it over to the right-hand side, look at what it does to my image. If I move it to the left-hand side, here's what it does. So you do want to be very minimal if you are going to make some adjustments to this. Now I'm actually pretty happy with where the photo is at right now, so I'm not going to be messing actually with the calibration panel this time. So I've shown you just about everything that I do when I edit my photos, but if you do want to learn how to soften skin in Lightroom, then you can click on this video that's right here.